A very pleasant good afternoon and welcome back to the Lakewood Country Club here in Yeongju-si for round number 2 of edition number 2 of the EVERCOLLAGEN Queen's Crown for 2022. Look at the weather, mostly cloudy skies, 30 degrees out on course, 58% humidity, and the winds again, they're behaving at 1.4 meters per second. Plenty of action out on course. We have a very tight battle for the lead. And we'll begin our coverage by heading out to the 12th hole with our leader, Unina. She is currently 11 under, 2 strokes clear of the field, but is looking at a lengthy par putt. She has been lights out with her putter all weekend long, yet to bogey, but she has her work cut out for her here to keep that streak alive. That's going to stay out wide and right. So it is indeed the first bogey of the day. Tough for Unina, but it makes the leaderboard a whole lot more interesting as she's dropped to 3 under for the day after her opening round of 65 yesterday. So all of a sudden, those within 4 shots are closer, feeling invigorated. This is Iso Young. She is at 6 under par. She's going to get a lovely low roll closer to target, inside of a couple of meters between her and a birdie to bring her within 3 as it stands. Unina, she is 10 under. Kim Soo-ji, she is 9 under. And holding down sole possession of 3rd at the minute. This woman right here, starting her back 9 on hole number 1. And off the stick with a clatter, will roll to the right side as she would to the definition of pin seeking. No Seung-yi. A little bit of trouble, and we find the ball just to the outside of the cart path, even closer to the trees. Park Young currently at 4 under, playing at the 13th. This is 68 at the end of the day yesterday. So at the moment, she is just even and compounding that mistake, rolling all the way off the back, teetering on the verge of the sand. It will stay in the rough, but she's going to have to hope to get that in close. Otherwise, she will be dropping to above par, which would be a rarity today. The course is playing unbelievably kind. Only Kim Ji-hyun is over par of those inside of the top 40. And their hole out just centimeters away from finding the bottom of the cup over at 11. The easiest putt she will play all day. And it is 6 under par. Bit of an opportunity gone by the wayside for Lee Seung-yeon. Back with No Seung-yi. So at this par 5 first, goes off the flag and about 5 meters closer to the edge, but she makes no problem, has no problem, excuse me, with that putt. Her second birdie of the day, and now within 2. Good start to the back 9. Staying on the par 5s, this time the 11th, and a brilliant approach for Chung Yoon-ji. She's up in the hunt in a tie for 4th, and now from nearly the cart path to a very uncomfortable stance. Does a pretty good job getting up. One of the reasons why we haven't seen Park Young-kyung as high up the leaderboard as we saw her many times last year is These short to mid-range putts that seem simple on paper. If you were to just look at the yardage, you would say that shouldn't be an issue, but at times it is cost her a few strokes. So we go to 13. He's so young from 1.9 meters out. This is for 7 under. Little left to right, and she knew it right away. So she joins the 5-way tie at 7 under par, 3 back of the lead. Still with a healthy amount of holes to be played. And to the second, No Sung-yi, the par 3. That's about the same yardage that she had for the last, though it's a much different feeling lie on that particular quest for birdie. It's a right to left downhill putt where the judging of speed is pretty difficult. Now Park Young trying to save that aforementioned par. Maybe a little left to right. And starting too far to the left. Again, the putter rearing its ugly head. That is now 2 bogeys on the day, 8 and now 13. And she is over par. Body language tells a story there, doesn't it? Well, with that first bogey of the tournament, Uni now looking for a good bounce back. Ten of 14 fairways in regulation yesterday, and she easily clears the bunker. We'll get a nice roll down as well at the 12th. Slightly below her season average with driver yesterday, 262 yards per par 4 and 5 off the tee. Just down a couple of points from her mark so far this season as we go to 12. Chien Sol using 6-iron on the tee at the par 3. She's not sold. And that would be why. She is a long way away. Quite the oddly shaped and incredibly large putting surface. Got on the forest course, and with the way No Sung-yi is playing, we'll probably see a fair bit of the mountain course, which is holes 1 through 9. Here she is now. Can she pick up another birdie and move within 1? That downslope kicks in. Judge the weight really well. Slightly pulled to the inside. It'll be a tap-in par. She will remain at 2 under. Down a spot from where she had started the day, but that is more to how well Kim Soo-ji played today. 68 in round 2 to sit at 9 under at the midway mark of the tournament. So we'll do a quick reset of the leaderboard. Of course, Uni Na 10 under, the only player double digits under par. Kim Soo-ji 1 back after today's round of 68. Che Ga-ram with a 67 in round number 2 to move within 3 of 5 under performance. Lee Soo-jin 3 under, as was Imi Jung, who we had followed closely yesterday in the featured group. She currently holds down that final spot on the front page of the leaderboard. Well, a decent effort to get down. Let's check out the lay of the land on 13. The wind and the downslope both contributing to a very long drive. Only 85 meters remain for Uni now. 290 meters down. That is a monster drive. Well, factoring in she had a bit of a tailwind, perhaps taking a little bit more off than she would have liked. The spin doesn't really help much either with the high lofted nature of that wedge shot. So we go to 11, Chung Yoon Ji to get to 8 under, no. Started right and stayed right all the way beyond. Down to 12, Jihan Seoul. This is nearing 20 meters away. Starts it up the hill, has to have enough to just get to the downslope. Sometimes we'll font the putt probability. That one might have been below 5%. And even a little bit further than the recent par miss we saw from Pak Young Kyung, so rightfully she'll take a moment for a quick reset. Now 7.3 remain. It'll start uphill and work its way down, right to left. That's a really good try. It's a lot of circles on the scorecard. That bodes well. 5 under through 12 holes and up to 7 under par for Lee Seung-yeon. Back to 12 in the par save attempt from Jihan Seoul. Has the line. Nicely done. That'll keep her up in the hunt. And now Coach Yu for birdie. Very fine line. You have to walk here. Start too close to the inside and it'll finish about that same distance to the other side of the hole. Bit of a weird ridge to try and follow all the way down. Just doesn't come off for the rookie, and that'll be the 5th consecutive par after 3 birdies through her first 8 holes of the day. She's 5 back. And let's have a look at 14 as everyone makes the slow journey on the way back into the clubhouse. 363-meter par 4, a hole that has seen just 10 birdies today. The water really on either side of this hole, but especially off to the left with 2 different waterfalls. Nice to look at from the tee, but not a hole you want to get distracted on. Bunkers on either side, the left and the right. And the pin placement today on 14, the front left, 6 yards from the left side, just 13 yards off the front. The wind, of course, could have a factor with a pin placement like this, but generally a bit better to be above the hole and let the combination of backspin and downslope take you back down towards the cup. The stretch of 13 and 14 yesterday, consecutive pars. It was the stretch, the run from 15 to 18 where she really made an impact, though she had started on the 10th tee yesterday. To 14. Nicely converted birdie at the last, and now a chance for another, but this one north of 7 meters. Gave herself a really good chance. It stays true and stays out. I mean, it will be just a par. Teeing off of the par 3 in search of the ace. Oh, you never know. Oh my goodness. Just breezes by the outside edge of the cup. That's about as close as we've seen during our 4 hours of coverage thus far this weekend. Now off the fairway at 11, 73 meters. The remaining distance with the third shot. Back to Young. It's thinking about it. Teetering on the edge of wanting to come back. Gravity deciding not to be too kind in the end, after all. Good day to be a duck, isn't it? Although I don't blame them if they're heading for the water. It's a hot one out there. It is 63 meters, fairway to green. Up from Yigai Young. Oh, perfect. Couldn't ask for a whole lot more than that. Seems like some of the insects found our microphones out there. Sorry about that buzz. To 14, Coach Yu, 119 meters from the rough. She bounces, it's nearly pin high. This is another one where it might catch the slope this time. I think it will. Gives us a pretty good preview as well on the topography of the green is and what it wants to do. That works out pretty well. perfect greens in regulation. Through more than a round and a half, she will end up the furthest out. But still, 3 nice approach shots. Should be at least a couple of birdies in there. It's always a longer walk back down towards the cup when you don't hear it rattle. 2-putt territory now as a result. And that lead seems a bit safer than it was a few minutes ago, with especially the approach shot from Junina. She won't have a challenger from the mark of 9 under just yet, and 8 shots clear of the cut line that is projecting to be around 2 under. Quick break, and then we'll be right back out to the Lakewood Country Club as our coverage of round number 2 continues. Well, Yunina starts off the hopeful birdie brigade with a slight miss offline, so a tap in par 14. 4 holes to play, and still the very, very slim one-stroke advantage. One hole further forward, Lee So-young, 81 meters from the fairway. Longest hole on course, 498 meters. And she is definitely attacking that very aggressive pin placement today. Lovely over the water. Coach Yu, the first to birdie out. 4 under for the day, on pace for a 68. That duo is going to be very exciting to watch all the way in. As we find Park Young, who is in need of a birdie, as she had done yesterday here. Just as nice. The touch, the control. With the water so close by. Recreational players everywhere. Exhale when they see a shot like that and say, if only. A bit of a surprising one. We know that ball snaps back down the hill, but it's a tough one. Jung Yoon-ji, who is stuck still at 7 under. Shot by shot, everyone who has come through 15 thus far, for the most part, either onto the fairway or just off. We had somebody into the trees off to the right earlier today. And this is where Yunina was cooking yesterday. Yeah. Even 2 in the last 4 holes would all but guarantee that she will be the leader heading into round 3. It's another brilliant drive. Great approach, sets up a relatively simple finish. 4th birdie of the day, and back on the same trajectory she was prior to that bogey at number 8. And the first of the 1 under attempts at the 15th. And we're 1 for 1 again. The fist pump before that ball is within a meter of the hole. You play this sport long enough, you know when things are on, things are off, and that birdie par, etc. journey continues for So-young, who's picked up another. So we go back to 11. Park Ji-young trying to save par here, putting into the wind. Start this inside the cup and you should be all right. And it is 6 under. Avoids dropping a stroke, keeps herself within 4. Just enough on it for Park Young. Only her 2nd birdie of the day, and it's been 12 holes in the making. Be an important home stretch for her to try and get a little bit closer to the leading rookie.
저희가 오늘 마지막.
Still will be a late push for me so young. And the look at the updated LFASI's point standings entering this week. Peng Minji not in contention, not in the tournament period this week. Static at 4,355 points, 250 points clear of Yuhei Ran, who is not having the best weekend here at Lakewood. Even par round in progress, or even, excuse me, for the tournament in progress, with a 2-under round with 3 birdies and a bogey, though she is down still 2 shots back of the cut line. Jihan Sol, she is 3rd after dropping spots with EA1, just as Pak Jiang and Lee Ga-young had done for 5th and 6th respectively. Im Jini held her ground at 7th in the LFASI's points table. Kim Soo-ji, Song Ga-eun after her win last week, both climbing, with the latter up 4 spots, and Kwon So-yeon dropping a pair. She's cooling off a little bit. Gorgeous look across the country club. Opened in 1972 as a Royal Country Club. Modeled after, in many ways, from lots of prestigious American golf courses. The approach from the fairway, ball sat just slightly beneath her toes, and that might roll all the way to the back left. That'll be a long birdie putt next. Interesting too, they use the design philosophy here at Lakewood based on the idea that a lot of the PGA Championships in the US vary the difficulty of the fairways and the hazards on flat ground, and it's primarily flat here. The idea is you can see the pin from just about any hole that you're on. This is a David M. Dale design. So we take a look at some of the highlights from Unina earlier in the day. It's a brilliant effort from well off the fairway into the rough. Then her tee shot at the second par 3 of the front 9, excuse me, and she made it look easy. And from a short hole to a long hole over to the par 5, another one where she gets it to zip in close. It's easy to putt well when you're only leaving yourself with a meter or so to go. Another good bit of work on the par 5, using the fringe to take off all the pace. That is 3 inside of a meter. Averaging 1.79 putts per hole, 25 putts through 14 holes. Greens in regulation, 14 of 14. As mentioned earlier, she's slightly back of her season average at 253 meters per drive. And it would be a bit misleading to suggest it's all been perfect. There is some areas of the game still to improve, most notably the driver. On the front 9 especially, she had some struggles on the par 4s and 5s, only 36% in regulation. But it was a nice drive here at 15 to set this up from the right edge as she looks over the pink sign, the island sign over the water. She has 181 meters to go to reach into 45 meters per second off that iron, and she needed to reach for a little bit more to make sure she was dry. Great line at the pin, and she'll have that putt for eagle. Oh, look at that. Just when you start to forget about Yuhei Ren in terms of those battling for the lead, she'll pull up an effort like that. It was not a good tee shot, left her with a ton of work to do, but still she's able to find a birdie, and now she moves within one shot, one stroke that is, of making the cut. This is Chung Yoon Ji for birdie. A long way to go, though. Don't think that broke to the right at all. Started to, but she was inside of the desired line, which took the hell out of it altogether. Back to 12. Park Ji-young just was shown how to find birdie from this similar position. Not quite going to be able to connect on it, though. Not going to be able to reach into for Coach Yu, but I think if that is where the first putt from Yunina ends up, she would be quite satisfied with that, though maybe not that far beyond the pin. Yardage-wise, though. Over to 12. 2.6 between Lee Ga-young and a birdie. A little left to right, she's got it. Back-to-back birdies now, 5 on the day, just the one bogey that came at the 8th. Has herself within 6 of Yunina. That's a disappointing one, no doubt about that. Not what she had anticipated. It's her first bogey of the day. So from within 3 to a larger gap now, 4 strokes. And par secured at number 12. Pretty significant pull with driver into the rough. That's going to carry him off the fringe and jettison all the way to the back right of the screen. It would be consistent. She's been following up her birdies with a par every single time. Surveying the opportunity for eagle. She's had some wonder putts. This would probably top them all. Eagles have been tough to come by, but not impossible. Chihan Sol had one at the 4th. It's the only one of the day thus far. That's tailing out to the right, and Unina knows it. In the end, job done, getting herself close to a bird. Well, it was evident throughout round number 1 as well that the course was not nearly as welcome to low scores as it is today. Didn't have a single birdie or a single eagle yesterday, excuse me. From just off the fringe, Lee Seung-yeon. She finally broke that birdie streak at the 13th, but she gets it right back at number 14. As we do now go to 16. This is going to pick up a ton of speed and really make its push towards the pin. Starting out significantly to the left, it starts to move back, but she wasn't really ever expecting to make that. Gets herself close to a par. And par is going to have to be what Coach Yu will settle with as she misses her birdie putt from the front side of the green, so she'll tap in. 3 to play, 4 back unless Unina can get back to 11 under. That's where she had been prior to the bogey at number 12. We won't have to wait much longer to see if she can connect on another. As Park Young-kyung misses to the inside. A shot at birdie of her own. Jian Sol, speaking of eagles and low scores, look at that run from 3 until 6. Birdie, eagle, birdie, birdie. She has another here at the later stages of her second round. And par made at number 16 for Lee Seung-yeon. 2 back. Well, nobody really from inside the top 5 have been able to close the gap. This would make that journey a little bit more difficult. Just outside of a couple of meters, it's a marginal left to right. Gave herself too much leeway. The putter lets her down again, using her unbelievable strength to reach in 2. And it will be a 3-putt. Was a downhill putt, just carried too much velocity on it. Started to drop and then popped right back out. So she'll head to 16, still at that 10 under mark. Well, we'll check back in with No Sungi. Haven't really seen her since the second hole. Doesn't get that to sit whatsoever, does she? Moving onwards towards the fringe as we will survey the 16th hole, which is where Unina and company are off to. A 330-meter par 4 over the water, over the fountains, before things widen out. Playing towards the north side of this course, towards the mountains. 205 meters from the tees where we find our first pair of sand traps. Then there's a wide one to the left of the green. And then to the right as well, you can see the significant slopes, and that is a tricky spot today for the pin. Down two pretty significant hills back towards that left side. Make for some curious approach shots. Coach Yu will tee off first. Also, of course, the social contribution target in the fairway. First drive is slightly off to the right. Still a bogey-free round for Coach Yu. She had 3 of them yesterday. 16 and 17. She had a pair of pars before birdieing her 18th. Pugbo Main, this has been a fairly steady tournament for her thus far. Though this 4-under mark is a log jam. 15 players currently level. She pops just over the ball of Coach Yu, also to the right of the target.
Close one.
Coach Yi will be the first to play. Can't have any complaints with that. Now Pak Bo-mi, can she do one better? I'd say she could do a whole lot better, and actually, that nearly holes out from the right side of the fairway. Great approach shot that was. It's not quite going to get us out of our seats thinking that it's going to drop in, but it is another formidable approach. Her greens in regulation continue to impress. Lands on the green, picks up speed, and goes all the way to the back. Close but no cigar. Doesn't help the cause a ton when you're being forced to putt from that far out. Five consecutive pars now for Pak Ji-young. 3 birdies on the front 9, but unable to find any yet on the back. Well, the putter failed her on 13. It does the opposite at 14, though she did most of the work with the wedge, let's be honest. Back to 16 now. Putt's going to start downhill. Picks up just an unbelievable amount of speed. She'd have to be perfectly honest. She probably would have been better served to keep the flag in, to be honest. Now Unina, this time she is able to convert on the birdie. At long last, she will say. Jiang almost follows the flag shadow all the way in from where she started that putt. I'd say that works out wonderfully. A simple tap in does the job. Pak Bo-mi will be aspiring for the same for birdie. To 5 under. 5 birdies on the day, 3 now on the back 9 with no bogeys since the 9th. This is a very consistent bit of play from Pak Bo-mi. It's a pretty good way to wrap up the first hour of our coverage as well. A few players in the group picking up strokes, and Unina finally able to restore that 2-shot advantage for Kim Soo-ji. Tee shot will head closer to the right edge than central. A bit of a down and up putt coming up next. Unina looks a pretty good flight, takes it a healthy divot. Be about a 6-meter effort. Lots of green to work with for Coach Yu. 6 iron, 6 under. Second to last tee shot of the day. Well, and down they go. Time running out a little bit to try and put some more distance if you're Uni now. Gonna need a pretty good putt to give her a shot at 12 under, at least on the 17th. If memory serves, this would also be the hole that she parred yesterday in her chain of birds. She will march on down and get a quick scan, realign, finish off with the short par putt. Young, it is 8 iron with 126 meters still to go on the 14th. Well, it is a nice putt, 7 under. Working her way up the leaderboard. Solid surge with the majority of her round already in the books. To 18, 9 iron, 119 still to go. Young over the sand traps to that left edge of the green. Starts it too close to the middle, and it takes the wrong slope down all the way up onto the fringe where it will get stuck. That too will land top and roll all the way off the back. Well, 6 under day, still 3 holes to go. On pace for a 66 Jihan Seoul and marching on up inside of the top 5 where she currently has a share of it. And now Coach Yu, that's going to start that move off to the right and stay out. Short par putt to go. Not as close to pin seeking as we've seen typically on this hole from Chung Yoon-ji, though she plays it safe. Sometimes that putter wants to behave, sometimes it causes her fits. Hopefully, for her sake, it's the former. Bomi. It was a closer effort than Coach Yu, but still not quite on line. Now Uni, now we go 0 for 3 on the search for a birdie at 17. There will be just one final hole to improve upon the lead. Currently sits at 2 strokes. Though No Seung-hee's still hanging around. She's So Young, So Yeon-jung, the 2 closest as well at that 8 under of those still on course. They're about to wrap up their rounds. Yoon-ji and Park Ji-young playing on the 15th at the minute. They would need to basically birdie out to give themselves a shot. And the aforementioned Lee So-young, after a miss hit, finds the thick cut of rough. First move back up doesn't inspire a ton of confidence for that putt. Oh, nicely done. Rolling closer and closer to the second, and finally, after a 5-hole delay, Park Ji-young has her birdie. Tails off at the end, Park Hyun-kyung. It is a day that she won't soon want to remember fondly. And Lee Ga-young, start of the day at even. She's picked up 3 strokes. Well, she's going to take a long look at this one, knowing that not only did she miss her shot, figuratively and literally, it's not an easy recovery either. Always has the game face on. So she finishes with a 68. That is not the end of the round that she would have had in mind. You like a punishing 18th, especially with how close things might become into the final round. We just had a prime example of how fine the margins are at the 18th. It is 3 pars to end the day. An even 72 as she finishes in a tie for 29th. William Genie, birdie bogey, birdie bogey birdie. That recent run of form she's put together. Final tee off today. Soon the focus will turn to moving day tomorrow. One less challenger still out on course, and they bogeyed at the end to make it just Soyeon Jung and No Seung-hee challenging to try and dethrone Yoonhee Na and prevent her from taking the lead into tomorrow's third round. But she's looking in good stead to end another day out at Lakewood atop the field. Well, when Sunday rolls around, this will be the potential championship decider. A 340-meter par 4. A hole today that has only seen 13 birdies, 15 bogeys, 4 double bogeys thus far, with most of the fields having played here already. Pin placements, we've seen it a couple times, the few groups, that have come through. Where the pin is 13 yards off the back and 5 yards from the left, and it is a very fine line to walk. It is a tricky slope at that back. The pin is pretty much on a spot in the green where if you're high, you're rolling to the back. If you're just short, you're rolling back towards the middle. It's a tough one to attack, but that is exactly what Unina is trying to do. She was 144 meters out, but she caroms back towards the bleachers, a pretty significant margin away from where she was hoping to be. Well, it's much closer to target. Back a few holes earlier in the forest course. And in between the target zone and the edge of the fairway. So we head to 16, where we find Isun Young digging in. That'll work out just fine. Perfect technique. It's wild too, those sand wedges have inherently such a high loft to them already, and the best way to really play them out is to open the grip up a little bit more, have it pretty much perfectly parallel to the sand as it's played down. It's been something of target practice. Almost looks like a bunch of balls at the range with how well people have been playing that 15th over the water. And the short little tap in to wrap up the hole from Jihan-Sol. Well, from off the back, we find Unina. That's got a chance. Oh, to the left. Didn't quite graze the left edge, but it is a nice recovery. It'll be a simple tap in. And when she begins the day tomorrow, she will be 11 under. That will be shot 68, and the cushion when she exits will be 2. Will it stay 2? That's the question we are asking ourselves now as we see a putt from the fringe. A right to lefter comes up a little bit awry off the line. And better effort from Chung Yoon-ji that time. No birdies to be had here. Still 3 under for the day and the tournament. And 4 consecutive pars to end the day. Ko Chiu, she is in with a 35 after going out with a 33. In the mix, but not quite prepared to say in contention. And finally we get one. Back-to-back birdies now for Park Ji-young. She has 3 holes to play, and she's only 3 back. Make for an interesting final push. Little left to right for Pak Bo-mi. Ooh, more than that though. So she'll tap in for a par. Decent day all in. 3 under to finish with a 69 and a 5 under for the tournament at her midway mark. Well, this should, and should being the operative word here, be a pretty straightforward putt to finish. She wasn't sure for a moment. I think her heart might have just skipped a beat, but in the end it is another incredible day for the rookie. 68. 11 under for the tournament. Very impressive start to the week. Now that she's seen it go down, they can laugh about it on the way off the green. Jeannie, that is now 4 birdies in the back 9 after she had 3 in the front. Let's say for a couple of bogeys, she would be 7 under. Well, it pops up a little bit more, I think, than she might have expected on its release, but that'll do. It's something to work with there. She is certainly going to be one of the players we are keeping the closest eye on the rest of the way in, And we're starting to get a pretty good idea what moving day is going to look like out here at Lakewood. 5 birdies on the day, just the one bogey, the only bogey through 36 holes for Unina that came at number 12. The 5 under has been one of the lowest score. Chihan Soul is currently 6 under with just 2 holes to play. That is the lowest round of the day in progress. On pace for a 66, which would be nearly what Unina shot yesterday. If she can get to a 65, then well, she would be within 2 heading into tomorrow. Another quick break, back to wrap up a few more rounds right after this. Take it back out to the 17th, a 7-meter look at birdie for Jihan Sol, who could very well be climbing another position. Actually, I take it back, Yuhei Ran, unless she misses the cut. I don't know that Jihan Sol will catch her, but she will close the gap. Currently third in the LFASI's point standings. Slightly pulled to the inside, unfortunately for her this time through. Would have made for a thrilling finish. Giving her a chance to match Kim Soo-ji, which is just quite frankly not been done today. Young, a very fortuitous bounce off the fringe and inside of a meter. She still has some holes to be played here. You never really know, do you? Wouldn't say she's out of this by any stretch. I mean, she finds 2 birdies in the final few holes. She'll move near the top 20. This is the player to certainly keep the closest eye on. 3 holes to play, 3 points the deficit. What can she do on this approach? Won't pull it closer to the pin, but she is up and dancing. That one will sting a little bit. Came close. Let's get you caught up on the points, rookie, and money lists, the leaders. So we get ever closer to the midway mark of this season. Hung Min-ji with a 52-point advantage over Yuhei Ran in the points. Park Ji-young third, Kim Soo-ji fourth, Jihan Sol fifth. In the money list, it is a 202 million won advantage for Peng Min-ji over Lee Mi-jung. In second, Yuhei Ran, sitting P3, Park Ji-young fourth, EA1 fifth, but she is the leading rookie on tour. 1,434 points, that is 231 clear of Mata Som. Kwon So-yeon, Yuni Na, Ko Chi-yu, the top 5 rookies, and some more similar names, as well as Lee Da-yeon in terms of the lowest average rounds per year. She'd be in position for another good points haul. She can match our leader's opening round with a 65 should she find birdie at 18. Park Ji-young does have another. So she moves into a tie for second. That is now 3 consecutive birdies. 2 more holes, and she will be starting off moving day tomorrow in a share of the lead. It's a pretty good effort. Don't have that final break in it. Now Yuhei Ran As it stands, she'll be good to make the cut line. This would give her even more breathing room. Can't doubt her putter from that distance. 5 birdies in the last 6 now. She knew she needed a big day after going a 74 yesterday. Being a little bit more relaxed out there after watching herself pick up another stroke. The cut line right now, anyone at 1 under or higher would not qualify at the moment. 65 players have met the threshold.
Nice body.
And on 16, Yiga Young finds her 3rd birdie of this back 9. Much to the delight of the supporters. Hop, skip, and a spin. And back over to 18. See how wonderfully that just drew in back towards the middle. 193 meters. With the tee shot leaving, I'm guessing a 6, depending on what the wind's doing here. Says Yi Soon-yeon. Back left isn't bad, assuming, of course, you can keep yourself on the right side of the fringe. But she finds the left and is in the sand. And that will make things a little bit more tricky. Jan Sol also missing the fairway. Playing from the rough, downhill to the hole, 108. Probably playing like 115. Bit of a left to right tailwind as well, and that has an impact on that shot towards the back right section of the green. She's starting to close that gap towards the top 6 names on the leaderboard. She is in a tie for 6th at 7 under par. Birdie would be tough to come by, but it would move her into a share of 5th. So we're near the end of the 2nd hour of coverage of this 2nd round of the EVERCOLLAGEN Queen's Crown, live from the Lakewood Country Club. Well, again, making those sand recoveries look like child's play a little bit. Even she has to smile to herself as she climbs out of the trap and up onto the green. Maybe 10 centimeters remaining, if that. So she gets up and down to secure a round of 67. Tie for 6th at the minute within 4. Back a hole to 17. G, and putter lets her down again. Couple of birdies, a bogey, plenty of pars on this back nine for Jung Yoon Ji on her way to the 18th. And speaking of, I wouldn't put it past her the way she's putt this season, but it is 13.1. Starting back up the hill, then it will work its way to the left. Weight control is there. Oh my word, nearly. Maybe if she's 3 degrees as she lines that up, it is a birdie, and it is 8 under, but it is just narrowly to the outside. Unbelievable front nine. We'll see that later in the round highlights, and a pretty good back as well. She finishes the day 66 in round 2. She was something of an afterthought yesterday, to be honest, at 1 under. Kim Jae-hee for the first time today. Decent little approach that was. Well, a putt to make the cut for Lee Chae-eun too. It's a long one at that. She would definitely be earning her place tomorrow if she can rattle this in. A mostly straight, slightly left to right at the end. Oh my, so close. So she'll settle for par and bow out of the event. 3 birdies on the day, 2 under wasn't quite enough after her 73 in round number 1. Not the most notable name to miss the cut. Chun Ye-sung, a 71 today after going even par yesterday, so she is outside of the cut zone, so we will be having a new champion this week. Maybe we'll have a first-time champion. Nina is in great stead. Yoon-ji, if she wants her second title of the year, she's going to have to figure that putter out. Bit inconsistent with driver as well. She comes up to the left side of the fairway into the rough. Over to the par 3 17th, Yuhei Ran. Starting right, I think it might be a bit too much to the right, but that is a very fortunate bounce. And we'll keep her open to the possibility of a birdie. She got lucky. Well, she needs a nearly perfect final 2 holes to finish the day level. Regardless, she'll be elated. She gets a good roll. She's definitely dialed in at the moment. And a putt from the fringe. Looks good. It is good. Chahi back-to-back birdies now all of a sudden at 5 under. Not quite on page 1, but she still has a couple of holes to get there. Seven under remains a very popular score today. Yimi Jung had it. Ijumi, Kochiu, Sojin, 6 under. Still plenty of golf to be played in this EVERCOLLAGEN Queen's Crown, shaping up for a very exciting weekend. Final hole of the day for No Sung-yi. Slightly inside of 150 meters out. Her approach. Well into the 90% range for her greens in regulation today. That'll be another, but it'll be a long way back. Spin high, but that won't be much consolation. Yuhei ran for birdie. Averaging 1.5 putts per hole. Little left to right. Actually, I'd say more than little left to right. She's got it again. She is playing on a completely different level. 8 birdies now on the day. 6 since the 11th hole. It's a fun game when everything is dialed in and working in your favor. On to 18. 105 meters from the rough for Chung Yoon-ji. Now Park Ji-young. Can she join Yuhei Ran with the unbelievable run? Yes, she can. 7 birdies for her today as well, and faultless. Not a single bogey in that celebration with her caddy. She knows how well she's been playing. She is within 1 stroke heading to the final hole. Well, it's the best approach of the lot at 15, and that's saying something because there's some really good ones there as well. A lot of ground to make up. Oh. A third of the ball was hovering over the cup. She came awfully close. Makes it all the more confusing, that putter. Just a couple of centimeters to tap in. It's awfully close to the bunker off the tee at 18. She should, excuse me, still have plenty of margin to find this green. We join Imjini. Angle's a bit deceptive. This is a pretty straight putt. Actions at the end, left to right. Starts not quite online, but a really good try from Imjini. So 2 putts to finish the day, and another good one with plenty of birdies on that scorecard. And speaking of birdies, Oh Sung-yi trying to finish within 2. Looks a bit light. Would have been off to the left anyways, so she will be hoping to finish with par. It'll be 3 back. Well, after a bogey at 17, it is still 1 under on the back for Che Uno. Seven consecutive pars on the way in. 2 birdies. After an opening round 66, she shoots 70 today. Very close, but not to be. It's going to need a second whack. It's a short one, but it is a second nevertheless. 2 bogeys now, 13 and 16 to go along with 3 birdies on the way in. Faltering a little bit as she pushes for the top of the leaderboard. Well, not the kindest of bounces and rolls, well beyond the flag. Dogun was hoping for a bird, but the amateur will have to settle, for another par. She's got 5 in a row now, 1 over par. Just the lone circle at the 8th, teetering on the verge of missing the cut. And 1 putt can take Hanshin Sun up to 5 under. Short 1. Marginal movement to the right, closer to our near side of the screen here. Yes, she's got it. 2 birdies in the last 3, 4 on the day. 6 off the pace. Well, all the eyes are on Park Ji-young. 1 back, 1 hole to play. After that, you'd have to cascade through quite a few names to try and find a charger at the moment. As every minute passes, it becomes more and more apparent that Unina should be leading heading into moving day tomorrow. But maybe she'll have somebody to share that lead with. We only have to wait a few more minutes to find out. Well, perhaps the biggest putt of the day right now. Park Ji-young. Yunina has not been challenged for the lead all round long. Oh my. So incredibly close. But it is a narrow miss to the inside, and that's the competitor in her. She can be more than relieved, more than impressed with her round, but she can also be frustrated that she will come up a little bit short. So the lead remains intact, and it will probably remain intact for the rest of the day. Back to 17. Bae So-yeon for birdie, putting into the wind. Left to right, slightly uphill. It moves too early. Back to 18. Yue Ren. Doesn't put too much pressure on Yunina just yet, but it would be another feather in what has been a very impressive cap today. She's not sure it would have been if it had a little bit more power. Another brilliant read of the line. She very carefully keeps herself out of her groupmate's line and taps in for a 65 from over par, and for a good portion of this second round, not even sure if she'd be in the hunt this weekend. Beneath the cut line, but she puts together a remarkable 7-under day. And depending on how tomorrow goes, she still could very much have a say in the outcome of this tournament. So Yun will settle for par. To 15, 1 over on this Friday. And really playing against herself at the moment as she tries to get above the cut line. She has the holes to do it, and approach shots like that will certainly help the cause. Well, this birdie putt would take Lee Ga-young into the same bracket as Yoo-Hae Ran. 5 under if she can get it there. Little left to right at the end. Right to left, excuse me, at the end. She too hangs that just short. There's a reason why we've only seen a dozen or so birdies today on 18. She finishes 4 under. We'll qualify her for the final 2 rounds of the competition. She is 7 back from the top of the standings, just inside of 100 meters and 3.5 above the hole. The approach for Han Chin-sung. Uses the backspin to stop it up and will work its way a little bit closer down the slope, back on the line at 15. Now Lee Dong-eun, 93 meters out, her second, playing from the rough. Fortunately, comes to rest once again in the rough. She was left off the tee. She's left with the approach, and that is a pretty tricky spot to be in. Par secured. Brilliant day today, another 65. She and Yue ran the low rounds, and within 1 stroke. It'll be quite an exciting group should they find a way to finish in the top 3 tomorrow. Set up a very fun Sunday. Jung Sol, I think that's short, and even if it had a bit more, it would have been right. Two bogeys thus far on the back 9. Her only birdie came at number 9. Trying to stay loose, especially when things aren't quite going your way. It can become a mental game, but it certainly makes it all the more challenging when your body doesn't want to cooperate either. Some struggles today with driver, 62%. 45th in the season-long money list, Pei So-yeon. Into the fairway and jogging after their ball they go. As we conclude this group's time on 15. Jae-won. And birdie, yes. Okay, up to 4 under, and that breaks a run of 3 bogeys after putting together 5 birds in the first 6 holes. As we look across towards the city, and Jushi, the leading protagonists, the heavy hitters, the big names, whatever synonym you want to use, they're all in the top echelon of the fields, has jockeyed for position all day long, and they've set this leaderboard. At this point, we are trying to figure out the field for tomorrow in terms of who will make the cut and who will not. Decent little flop out of a tricky lie. One of the 3 amateurs had withdrawn from the event. That was Pang Xin-shi. Lee Se-young was 2 over today to finish at 1 over and will not be qualifying for tomorrow's 3rd round. So if Lee Dong-eun, even if she doesn't make the cut, if she can hang on to this score, she will finish as the low am. Janana was 4 over today for a 76. She also fails to make the cut. Oda Bean, similar boat from the playoff last year. She was 70 today, but that wasn't enough to get her to the all-important 2 under score, as we see a long putt from just off, or just on, excuse me, the front of the green. Well, this might be the single most difficult patch of rough to hit on the entire course, as it cuts the front of the bunker in half. This is Pak Kum Gang, 119 meters. It was a 78 yesterday, currently 1 under for this Friday. From the rough up onto the green. Still a pretty significant downhill putt to come. Back to 16, a look at birdie over hit and pulled from Han Chin Sun. So a tap in par. She's on pace for a 69 today. Well, from the 18th tee blocks with driver, 242-meter drive. Roll all the way to the back right border of the fringe. An important par save if she wants to maintain her position as the low am. She steps up under the pressure and delivers. Nice putt from Idongun. Back to 15. Wedge shot over the water. Trying to stay nice and close, only 63 meters. Junyeonju guiding that one in. That will work out pretty well, I'd say. Making the necessary and correct adjustments with the wind. Blowing from her left to her right and gets herself nice and close. Whittled down that field of those that were tied for sixth at 7 under. Another half dozen at 6 under. 9 currently at 5 under par. Will take quite an effort from that position to try and catch up to Jiang and Yunina. Be playing together tomorrow, Saturday, the first day of the weekend. Weather appears that it'll be playing along with us again nicely tomorrow. We come back to air on Saturday. Just the final few holes, final few moments in the second round of the second EVERCOLLAGEN Queen's Crown. Well, this is a very long 14-meter putt from the fringe. It would be for birdie. Bae So-yeon can get it there. It's going to miss to the left, to the inside. Chung Yeon-ju, she will be ruining that miss. Really good opportunity for birdie. Passes her by. Kim Jae-hee, she is 3 under. Can she add a 4th score under par? That is not the start she needed. Well, a proper finish. Out with a 35, in with a 36. It is under par on the day, Bakunggang, but not enough to get to the very elusive, it is proving to be, mark of 2 under. Bae So-yeon now all of a sudden needs this putt to make the cut, excuse me. It's a simple one in the end, but it is a day that she will rather forget, as it is a 2 over 74. Well, not too many of these moments for Kim Jae-hee today. She has been very, very solid. The lowest score of the group. Out of the sand, down towards the green. She's going to get a decent push. But obviously the sand trap costing her some distance. This is 17 with the 39th and final group to have teed off this morning on the first hole. Finds pretty well the middle of the green. Birdie here yesterday. She needs back-to-back birdies to find 2 under. Well, that'll work out wonderfully. It's about a 3.5 meter putt for birdie. Very nice shot. That sums up the day pretty well whether it was a celebratory reaction or a grimace that the putter wasn't working quite the way ENG would have wanted it to. Brilliant image out of the sand. Cooling off when you can. Sometimes it takes a frozen bottle of water. Try and keep cool out there, hovering around 30 degrees all day long. Helped that the sun wasn't beating down directly on the course. Doesn't provide all that much relief, though. It is definitely a hot one. Middle of July exactly. There's Hunchin's sun. Slows up just as it was considering behaving and getting back online. 2-putt par at 17. Not a lot to try and contend with here. Start to the outside. Firm stroke should get it there. Well, she started it where she needed to. Maybe perhaps a bit too firm. That'll be a disappointing par. A flopper from just outside the sand trap. Running it up the hill. And Ji-sun gave it a good go. Jae-bun. The tee shot at the final par 3 of her round. That'll be a disappointing bounce. Birdie from that position would be shot of the day. Well, it's a long look at birdie, but it is a look at birdie nevertheless. That is about as good as it could have been from there. Opportunity to get to even. wouldn't be quite enough for Jean, but it would look a little better, the scorecard, through 36. 7.1 for birdie. And that's going to dive to the right. So a 2-putt par, 3 birdies on the day, bogeys at 9 and 10. This too looks right. I'm taking every available moment here to try and save par. A little bit of a drop down towards us, and it drops in. Back-to-back pars to end the round. 5 birdies on the day, 2 of those birdies, sandwiched in between a bogey on either end. Oh, that's a brilliant putt. Back-to-back and dragging herself back over the cut line. Some important putts under pressure for Chung Ye-sol. Well, 71 in round 1, 72 today won't be enough for Kang Ji-sun. But a perfectly even par round where she was when she walked off the course yesterday. And a short par for Jae Bun. First par since the 11th. Remarkably, she only has about 8 pars today. It's either been picking strokes up or dropping them along the way. Nearing the end of the round, the end of the broadcast, let's go through some round highlights. We'll start things off on the 6th. At that point, Kim Soo-ji had been the leader. She would pad that number, a birdie putt to take her to 9 under. 6th of the day, 2 bogeys in that span as well, made it only a 4-shot swing. And she was able to take the lead because the Union teed off a little bit later today. Playing pitching wedge out of the rough. Great bounce, an even better roll. It starts to straighten out at the very end, and that is a nice rough recovery. On to the 8th. A lot we saw Abimi Jung yesterday. did most of her heavy lifting, her best work, before our portion of the broadcast joined on today. To within 1.5 meters and a very easy birdie to finish at the 8th hole. 3 consecutive birdies, 6 through 8, which were the final few holes of her round, having teed off on number 10, Uni Na. That's where she teed off yesterday. This her tee shot on the par 3, and there are going to be a few of these absolutely remarkable highlights to come, nearly back to back to back. Darting them in left, right, and center. More nice play from the rough. Jian Sol, brilliant day for her. That's her best shot, an eagle. Her front nine was absolutely ludicrous today. The amount of birdies and eagles, and the eagle, excuse me, really brought herself back into contention. Some resuscitation for her tournament. As mentioned from Unina, there's so many of these today, it looked like she was on a completely different level than the rest of the fields. More on 8. The beginning of a remarkable round that would see 4 more birdies and not a single bogey the rest of the way. See a couple more of those shortly. In the meantime, Unina trying to find the green, wedged in between a bunch of sand traps. Makes it look easy. Osungi from almost the fringe, putting it back across the center. That is the first hole of the course, the 10th hole of her round, the second birdie. To 14, Lee Seung-yeon. Putt for birdie from a similar position around the fringe. Would rattle that one down. It's the 4th birdie in the first 5 holes. 3rd birdie, excuse me, in the first 5 holes of her back 9. Then on 15. At that point, the 6th birdie, it was basically birdie par all the way in. Unina over the sign, over the water. Yeah, near perfection again. That was her 2nd shot, and that's where things got a little bit puzzling. She would go on to miss this birdie putt and have to settle for a par. But really showing off her strength at such a young age. With how tight the advantage would be by the end of the day. That was one she certainly wished she could have another go at. Chung Yoon-ji. There were different swings in the figurative sense this round, where her putter was her least favorite club and then it was her favorite. Shots like that would put it in the latter category. Jian Sol from the fairway. Also a brilliant approach at 15 over the water, using the backspin to slow it up and keep it close. This was Unina at 16. 71 meters out from the fairway. And after struggling to find her birdie at the last, despite having 2 shots at it, she only needed the 1 here. Birdie putt to take her to 11 under, and that is where she would go on. Yuhei Ran tied for the joint lowest round. That is 6 birdies on the back 9. She had 2 on the front. Just 1 bogey in her work today, as she has brought herself from beneath the cut line to a tie for 20th. Pak Jiang, a nice left to right for her 4th birdie in a row to 10 under, where she finished with a 65 today, 134 strokes Through 36 holes of play, Unina remains the player to catch. Pak Ji-young up 16 spots, a formidable bit of golf today. Great round as well, 5 under par for Che Gao-ram to bring herself into a tie for the top 6. So Yeonjung, No Sung-yi, that rounds out the top 5. Kim Soo-ji, a 4 under round of 68 to be at 135 and 2 back. That will be quite the trio, the group tomorrow. Unina, Pak Ji-young, Kim Soo-ji. Pak Gyeol and Mata Som. Bogyam as well at 6 under, along with Ko Chiu, Sojin, Lee Joo-mi. Yue Ran again, there's that very impressive 7 under score. Yu Hyo-ju, good round as well. Definitely looks a whole lot different, this leaderboard, today on Friday than it did yesterday, where there were more 1 and 2 under rounds than anything. But for those who were able to crack into the top 50, the top 60, there was some good golf to be had. Kim Ji-hyun, who is still out on course, has dropped off quite significantly down to over par for the round, as was Lee Jung-min today to finish at 73. Just had enough good work in round 1 to keep her involved heading into the weekend. And Ji-hyun 3 under, playing on 7, just 2 more holes to play as she is at 3 under par. And yes, that is the blue line. You want to be above it, not beneath it, which makes it all the more frustrating when you are just 1 shot back. How close you came, but it wasn't enough. 65 players at the moment have found themselves above that blue line and will be joining us tomorrow. We hope you will be joining us tomorrow, back on the air at the exact same time for Moving Day Round 3 and a 3 p.m. local time start here in Yangju-shi. It's been the Lakewood Country Club. We are halfway through this EVERCOLLAGEN Queen's Crown, and is where we sign off today. On behalf of the entire SBS Golf crew, I've been Adam Jenkins. Thank you so much for joining us. Take good care, and we will see you tomorrow for round number 3.